Ancient Hawaiian religion tells us of the unbreakable chain, how man, along with sky, land, and sea, are inextricably one, forever united and interdependent. The early Hawaiians sought to mesh with the forces of nature, not fight them. He'd be a fool to upset the threads which bind him together with nature and the gods. In the Hawaiian culture, spirit and matter are one in themselves, but like the gods, matter is truly just as powerful, fully capable of thinking and willing. It is indeed alive, conscious and receptive to human communication. The modern triathlete talks to it, exists with it, not against it. This big island is all-powerful, imposing, and treacherous. But the successful athlete will never challenge it, knowing the race with nature is never won. It is only carried on. Today, the world's greatest athletes perpetuate the everlasting bond. For the past 3 years, no one has been able to unlock the secrets of the Kona coast like Mark Allen. He'll run for a 4th straight title, but it's impossible to know if the unpredictable forces of the island will run with him. Even the greatest woman triathlete ever, Paula Newby-Fraser, can't predict what the powers have in store for her as she seeks a 5th title. The rules of the island were cast thousands of years ago, and the teachings of ancient Hawaii still tell us today that the chain shall never be broken. Welcome to the Gatorade Ironman Triathlon World Championship. Perhaps there is not a more fitting setting for this race to take place. On the Kona coast, where mind, body, and spirit fuse themselves together with the mystique of this big island. As the cradle of the triathlon, the Ironman stands alone, the original, the race that spawned the very sport. It is a race where legends are made. It is a place where legends return. By the end of the day, only one woman and one man will emerge as its latest champion. But by the end of the night, several hundred more will be victorious by merely crossing its finish line. In just a few moments, more than 1,400 people from around the world will begin what will be for them the biggest challenge of their lives. It's early morning on the Kona coast. The archway to the finish line has a peaceful glow to it in the pre-dawn darkness. By nightfall, it'll be a point of frenzied celebration. But the mood now on Kailua Pier is anything but jovial. How can it be when the moment of truth is just minutes away? It's a moment all these athletes have thought about 1,000 times, even for the athlete given the final race number. And even though 3-time defending champion Mark Allen is awarded #1 status, he knows it means nothing unless he can back it up once again. Last year he held off Australian Greg Welch, but now running in his 6th Ironman, Welch has unprecedented confidence. And this year, the happy-go-lucky Aussie has said he's here to beat Allen, not just challenge him. Meanwhile, 4-time women's champion Paula Newby-Fraser blocks out the pre-race tension with her favorite music. With only 100 professionals entered, the feeling for the more than 1,300 amateur athletes is really no different. They just try to remember how good the hug at the finish line will feel. Their stories will be told by day's end. Like Pat Rummerfield's, it's extraordinary. 18 years ago, he was left a quadriplegic after a near-fatal car accident. Doctors told him he would never walk again, but after years of therapy, it seems walking wasn't Pat's ultimate goal. Being an Ironman is. The finish line, it seems so very far away, almost unthinkable in these early morning moments. But the inspiration to draw from is almost limitless. Just talk to 29-year-old Jim McLaren, a 2-time Gatorade Ironman finisher who owns the world record for an amputee. Or talk to Kathy Hughes, wife and mother of 5. In her spare time, she runs an 80-acre farm while training for triathlons. Mark Allen spends the last remaining moments by himself in pre-race meditation. His bond with the islands has begun.
7 o'clock and start the race with you standing on the pier. There's plenty of room to move into.
It's too late to second-guess the training. The race is about to begin. The swim is only part of the 140-mile journey over the most severe conditions the island has to offer.
With loving care and divine...
It'll take place just off the coast of the biggest island in the chain, Hawaii. On the western tip, in the village of Kailua Kona. The swim is nearly 2.5 miles, originating from the Kailua Pier and returning for the start of the bike race. The 112-mile stretch takes the athletes north along the Kona coast, through barren lava fields where there's nowhere to hide from the scorching blacktop. When they reach the small pastoral village of Hawaii, they'll make a 180-degree turn. By then, the afternoon sun will be at its burning peak for the ride back to the town of Keauhou. And it's there where they'll push their bodies for the final test, the 26.2-mile marathon, back up the same searing coast before returning home again to Kailua Kona, where the final throng of fans await them along Ali'i Drive. The scene now is at the pier, and for more on the first leg swim, we go to our Olympic gold medalist, Michael Bryan.
There are many challenges to this swim. First and foremost is the start. It's a mass start, one of only 2 left on the Ironman circuit. All 1,500 swimmers will pack themselves into a relatively small area and vie for the lead. But that's not the only challenge. The swimmers also must overcome swells of water and thrashing arms and legs as they make their way through this first leg of the Ironman triathlon.
It's an eerie sight high above Kailua Pier, where over 1,400 athletes jam the starting point. Just exactly what are they walking into? The mind is clouded with a sense of uncertainty. Months of training, for some, years, all to be put to the test. Has it all been worth it? Was there enough? Seconds away from the start, some wonder if it's too late to turn back.
3, 2, 1! On the 1992 Gatorade Ironman Triathlon World Championship.
The silence has been broken. Just off the pier, the once calm bay waters have been turned into a churning mass of humanity. To boil with the flailing arms of the athletes. But just ahead of the chaos, the first lead has been taken.
Nathaniel Arandi, a high school swim coach from Illinois, finds himself in front of German Wolfgang Dietrich. Dietrich, a former world-class swimmer, was first out of the water in last year's race. Now he's surprised by Arandi, but he knows the time to strike and take the lead still lies ahead. The pack starts to thin out as swimmers fall into place according to their strength. As this happens, the compact thrashing of arms and legs is reduced, as each swimmer searches for their own piece of open water. The lead pack transforms itself into a single line. Each swimmer follows in the slipstream of water coming off the swimmer in front of him, hoping to take advantage of this drafting effect. Greg Welch, the Australian Mighty Mite, assumes a comfortable spot in the lead pack. His stroke is deliberate and strong, but there is still more than 2 miles to go.